Right now, while you're spending hundreds of dollars on supplements and doctor's visits, there are plants growing literally everywhere around you that contain more healing power than entire pharmacy shelves combined. I'm talking about common weeds like dandelions that have 7 times more antioxidants than spinach, plantain that stops bleeding faster than any Band-Aid, and nettle that delivers more protein per gram than beef. While pharmaceutical companies are making $1.5 trillion every year selling you synthetic versions of what nature already perfected millions of years ago, these miracle plants are being labeled as worthless weeds and systematically removed from your awareness. Your great-grandmother knew about elderberry's ability to cut flu duration by 75%, about willow bark being nature's aspirin, and about how a simple tea from pine needles contains more vitamin C than 20 oranges. But somehow in just 2 generations, this life-saving knowledge vanished from common education while expensive, side-effect-loaded alternatives took their place. The most shocking part is that many of these plants grow wild in your own backyard, require zero maintenance, cost absolutely nothing, and work better than their expensive pharmaceutical counterparts. While you're being told that healing requires complexity and high costs, indigenous cultures worldwide have maintained perfect health for thousands of years using nothing but the plants around them. And it's exactly why they made sure to hide this from you. Think about this for a second. Your ancestors survived plagues, famines, and injuries for thousands of years without a single pharmacy or hospital, yet somehow they lived to old age and stayed strong enough to build civilizations. They didn't have access to modern medicine, but they had something far more powerful: intimate knowledge of every plant in their environment and exactly how each one could save their life. A cut finger meant reaching for plantain, a fever meant willow bark tea, chest congestion meant mullein, and stomach problems meant wild mint. These weren't just folk remedies or old wives' tales. These were proven, life-saving treatments that actually worked better than what we use today because they came without the devastating side effects. While modern medicine treats symptoms and creates dependencies, these plants actually heal the root cause and strengthen your entire system in the process. Your great-great-grandmother could walk into any forest and come out with a complete pharmacy that would put most modern medicine cabinets to shame. But here's what really happened. As industrialization took over, there was suddenly massive money to be made in keeping people sick and dependent on expensive treatments. The knowledge of free, natural healing had to disappear for the medical pharmaceutical complex to thrive. And it's exactly why they made sure to hide this from you. Here's something that will blow your mind. Many of the most expensive medications on the market today are literally just synthetic copies of compounds found in common plants, but they patent the synthetic version and charge you thousands while the original plant grows for free. Aspirin comes from willow bark, digitalis heart medication comes from foxglove, paclitaxel cancer treatment comes from yew trees, and morphine comes from poppies. But instead of teaching you about the safe, natural sources, they create chemical copies, add harmful side effects, and charge you a fortune for what nature provides freely. While you're paying $300 for a month's supply of blood pressure medication, hawthorn berries growing wild in most neighborhoods can regulate blood pressure just as effectively with zero side effects. The same companies that sell you expensive cholesterol medications know that a simple dandelion root tea can lower cholesterol naturally, but there's no money in telling you about free weeds. Red clover blossoms can balance hormones better than hormone replacement therapy, yet doctors will prescribe synthetic hormones that increase cancer risk instead. Wild garlic growing in most yards can boost immune function more powerfully than expensive immune supplements, but you'll never hear about it from mainstream medicine. And it's exactly why they made sure to hide this from you. The numbers don't lie. Americans spend over $4,000 per person every year on healthcare, making us the sickest and most medicated population in human history, while cultures that still use traditional plant medicine have virtually zero chronic disease. Countries like Costa Rica, where people still forage and use wild plants regularly, have some of the longest lifespans on Earth despite spending 90% less on healthcare than Americans do. Studies show that people living in blue zones, areas with the most centenarians, all have one thing in common: they use wild plants as food and medicine daily. While we're told that modern life requires modern medicine, these populations prove that the opposite is true. Access to wild plants and traditional knowledge creates health that modern medicine simply cannot match. In Ikaria, Greece, where people regularly live past 100, they gather wild greens daily that contain compounds proven to prevent cancer, heart disease, and dementia. Meanwhile, Americans consuming processed foods and synthetic medications have skyrocketing rates of all these diseases despite spending more on healthcare than any nation in history. The correlation is crystal clear. The further we move away from plant-based healing, the sicker we become. And it's exactly why they made sure to hide this from you. But here's where it gets really interesting. The same government agencies that approve dangerous medications with deadly side effects actively work to suppress information about safe, effective plant medicines that could replace most pharmaceuticals. The FDA spends millions prosecuting people for sharing traditional plant knowledge while rubber-stamping drugs that kill over 100,000 Americans every year through properly prescribed use. They'll shut down websites teaching about echinacea for immune support but allow commercials for medications that list death as a potential side effect. While natural healers are labeled as quacks and charlatans, the medical system that's now the third leading cause of death in America is considered the gold standard. Universities that once taught botanical medicine now focus exclusively on synthetic drugs, ensuring new doctors graduate completely ignorant of nature's pharmacy. Medical schools receive massive funding from pharmaceutical companies, creating a system where doctors learn to prescribe expensive drugs but know nothing about free, natural alternatives. The revolving door between regulatory agencies and drug companies ensures that plant medicine remains marginalized while dangerous, profitable drugs get fast-tracked to market. This systematic suppression isn't an accident, it's a carefully orchestrated plan to keep you dependent and profitable. And it's exactly why they made sure to hide this from you. Imagine two people looking at the exact same dandelion growing through a crack in the sidewalk. One sees an annoying weed that needs to be poisoned and removed, while the other sees a complete multivitamin and liver cleanser that's more nutritious than anything in the grocery store. This is exactly what happened to human civilization. We went from seeing plants as our lifeline to seeing them as our enemy. In traditional Chinese medicine, dandelions are called the elixir of life and are used to treat everything from diabetes to cancer, but here in the West we spend billions of dollars trying to kill them with toxic chemicals. Native Americans called plantain the white man's footprint because it grew wherever Europeans settled, and they taught the colonists how this humble plant could heal wounds instantly and prevent infections that were killing settlers by the thousands. European herbalists in medieval times knew that a handful of chickweed contained more nutrients than a week's worth of vegetables. But somehow we lost this knowledge and now spend fortunes on synthetic vitamins that our bodies can barely absorb. The Maasai people of Africa have used aloe vera for thousands of years to heal burns, cuts, and digestive problems, yet we only recently rediscovered what they never forgot. Aboriginal Australians survived in harsh desert conditions for 60,000 years using plants like eucalyptus and tea tree that we now know contain powerful antimicrobial compounds. Every indigenous culture on Earth has an extensive pharmacy of local plants, but modern civilization teaches us to fear and destroy these same plants. This split in perception isn't accidental. It represents the moment profit became more important than health. Let me tell you about Sarah, a regular mom from Ohio who discovered this truth in the most unexpected way during the 2020 supply shortages when she couldn't find elderberry syrup anywhere for her sick kids. Desperate and with no other options, she remembered her grandmother mentioning something about elderberries growing wild behind her house. So she took a chance and made her own syrup from the dark purple clusters she found. Not only did her kids recover faster than they ever had from previous illnesses, but Sarah realized she'd been spending $40 a bottle for something that was growing for free in her own backyard. She started researching other plants around her property and discovered that the yellow flowers she'd been mowing down every week were actually black-eyed Susans that Native Americans used for immune support and wound healing. The prickly plant taking over her garden wasn't just a nuisance, it was red clover, used traditionally to purify blood and balance hormones, selling for $25 an ounce in health food stores. Within 6 months, Sarah had replaced her entire medicine cabinet with plants from her own yard, saving over $200 monthly while actually feeling healthier than she had in years. Her doctor was amazed at her improved blood work and energy levels, but when she explained what she was doing, he warned her about the dangers of self-medicating with plants. Meanwhile, he continued prescribing medications with side effects worse than the original problems, proving that even well-meaning professionals have been programmed to fear nature's solutions. Think of wild plants like having a 24-hour pharmacy that never closes, never runs out of stock, and never charges you a dime, except this pharmacy actually heals you instead of managing your symptoms forever. Rose hips growing on wild rose bushes contain 40 times more vitamin C than oranges and can prevent scurvy, boost immunity, and heal skin from the inside out better than any expensive beauty treatment. Purslane, that succulent weed growing in sidewalk cracks, contains more omega-3 fatty acids than salmon and costs $0 compared to the $50 most people spend monthly on fish oil supplements. Wild violet leaves and flowers are edible powerhouses packed with vitamins A and C, and they soothe inflammation better than expensive anti-inflammatory drugs without destroying your stomach lining. Pine needles can be made into tea that delivers more vitamin C than any supplement, prevents respiratory infections, and actually tastes better than most store-bought teas. Lamb's quarters, often called wild spinach, contains more iron, calcium and protein than cultivated spinach and grows abundantly in most yards without any care or watering. Burdock root, found along roadsides and in vacant lots, detoxifies the liver more effectively than expensive liver cleanses and has been used for centuries to clear skin problems from the inside out. The best part is that these plants are designed by nature to be perfectly bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs and uses their nutrients far better than synthetic alternatives. While supplement companies spend millions trying to create bioavailable vitamins, nature already perfected the formula millions of years ago. Here's what the multi-billion-dollar supplement industry doesn't want you to know. They're literally trying to recreate in expensive labs what's already growing for free outside your window, and they're doing a terrible job at it. Your body recognizes natural plant compounds as food and absorbs them completely, but synthetic vitamins are seen as foreign substances and mostly get flushed out in your urine, which is why your pee turns bright yellow after taking expensive vitamin supplements. Studies show that people who eat wild plants have nutrient levels that are impossible to achieve with any amount of synthetic supplements, proving that nature's original design can't be improved upon. Meanwhile, the same companies selling you $100 monthly supplement regimens are the ones funding studies that claim plant medicine is dangerous and unproven. They've created a system where you pay premium prices for inferior synthetic copies while the superior originals are labeled as weeds and poison with herbicides. Big agriculture profits from selling you nutrient-depleted foods, then big pharma profits from selling you synthetic nutrients to make up for what's missing, then big medicine profits from treating the diseases caused by this artificial cycle. It's the perfect business model: create the problem, sell the solution, then treat the side effects of the solution. While you're spending hundreds of dollars monthly on supplements that barely work, the plants that could actually heal you are being systematically destroyed. The irony is staggering: we're poisoning the medicine to sell poison as medicine. The really crazy part is watching different cultures around the world use the exact same plants for healing while Western medicine claims there's no scientific evidence that plants work medicinally. In Germany, doctors regularly prescribe St. John's wort for depression instead of antidepressants, and it works better with fewer side effects. In India, turmeric is used daily as food and medicine, which is why Indians have some of the lowest rates of Alzheimer's disease in the world despite our medical system claiming there's no cure. Japanese people consume wild plants like wasabi and shiso regularly, contributing to their legendary longevity and low disease rates. Traditional European herbalism used willow bark for pain relief for thousands of years before aspirin was invented, yet now doctors act like aspirin was a groundbreaking discovery instead of a synthetic copy. African traditional medicine has used plants like African potato and Sutherlandia to treat immune system problems for generations, with success rates that would make modern oncologists jealous. Even in North America, indigenous peoples had plant treatments for every condition that modern medicine struggles with, including diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. The same plants they used are still growing wild across the continent, but instead of learning from thousands of years of successful use, our medical system ignores this knowledge completely. It's like having access to a library of proven solutions but choosing to reinvent everything from scratch using inferior materials. The evidence isn't lacking, it's being deliberately ignored because healthy people don't generate profit. Having access to wild edible and medicinal plants is like discovering a secret grocery store and pharmacy combined that's open 24 hours a day, stocks the highest quality products on earth, and everything inside is completely free forever. Wild garlic that grows in most wooded areas contains compounds that are more powerful than expensive immune boosters, and just one bulb can replace your entire medicine cabinet during cold and flu season. Nettle, that stinging plant everyone avoids, contains more usable protein than a steak, more iron than spinach, and natural antihistamines that work better than allergy medications without making you drowsy. It's like nature designed the perfect superfood and then made it grow everywhere for free, but instead of celebrating this gift, we've been programmed to see it as a nuisance. Plantain leaves growing in sidewalk cracks can stop bleeding instantly, reduce inflammation faster than ibuprofen, and heal cuts without leaving scars. Imagine having a first aid kit that regenerates itself and costs nothing to maintain. Wild blackberry leaves make a tea that regulates blood sugar better than expensive diabetes medications, while the berries provide antioxidants that cost $40 a bottle in supplement form. Clover blossoms that cover most yards contain compounds that balance hormones naturally, something women spend hundreds of dollars monthly trying to achieve with synthetic treatments. Red clover specifically contains natural phytoestrogens that can replace dangerous hormone replacement therapy, giving women relief from menopausal symptoms without increased cancer risk. These plants aren't just free alternatives, they're superior versions of what we're paying premium prices for in stores. The science is clear. Wild plants contain nutrients in perfect ratios that synthetic supplements can never replicate. Here's something that will make you angry once you understand it. The pharmaceutical industry makes over $400 billion annually selling you synthetic versions of compounds that exist naturally in common weeds, but they can't patent natural plants, so they have to chemically alter them first. Aspirin comes from willow bark, but instead of teaching you to make willow bark tea, they synthesized acetylsalicylic acid and now charge you for what causes stomach ulcers and bleeding. Digitalis heart medication comes from foxglove plants, but rather than using the whole plant safely like herbalists did for centuries, they isolated one compound and created a drug so toxic it can stop your heart. Taxol, the cancer drug that costs $10,000 per treatment, comes from Pacific yew trees that grow wild across North America, but they'd rather harvest the trees and sell you the synthetic version than teach you about the natural source. Metformin, the diabetes drug worth billions in annual sales, was originally derived from French lilac, a common garden plant that still grows everywhere and works just as well without side effects. Even morphine, one of the most valuable drugs in medicine, comes from poppy plants that humans have used safely for thousands of years before pharmaceutical companies took over pain management. The pattern is always the same. Find a plant that works, isolate one compound, synthesize it in a lab, patent the synthetic version, and sell it for thousands while demonizing the original plant as dangerous or unproven. Meanwhile, the whole plant almost always works better with fewer side effects because nature designed these compounds to work together in perfect balance. They're literally stealing nature's pharmacy, making inferior copies and selling them back to you at astronomical prices. The beauty of wild plant medicine is that it works with your body's natural healing systems instead of forcing artificial chemical reactions that create dangerous side effects and dependencies. When you eat wild dandelion greens, you're getting a gentle liver detox that supports your body's natural cleansing processes, unlike expensive liver cleanses that shock your system with harsh chemicals. Pine needle tea provides vitamin C in a form your body recognizes and can use completely, unlike synthetic ascorbic acid that mostly gets wasted in your urine. Wild violet leaves reduce inflammation by supporting your immune system's natural responses, while pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories suppress your immune system and damage your stomach lining. Elderberries boost your natural immunity by providing compounds your immune cells use as building blocks, unlike immune supplements that try to artificially stimulate immune responses. Wild mint aids digestion by supporting your stomach's natural acid production, while antacids neutralize stomach acid and create digestive problems over time. Rose hips provide natural vitamin C complex with bioflavonoids that enhance absorption, unlike isolated synthetic vitamin C that your body barely recognizes as nutrition. Burdock root gently supports liver function and natural detoxification pathways, unlike harsh pharmaceutical detox drugs that can damage organs. The difference is like comparing a gentle stream that nourishes the landscape to a fire hose that destroys everything in its path. Nature heals by strengthening and supporting, while synthetic medicine forces and suppresses. What's really happening here is a deliberate campaign to disconnect you from free, effective medicine so you'll become dependent on expensive, dangerous alternatives that require lifelong management instead of actually healing you. Medical schools stopped teaching botanical medicine in the 1940s when pharmaceutical companies started funding medical education, ensuring that new doctors would only know how to prescribe drugs. Herbalism was systematically removed from nursing programs, midwifery training, and even veterinary schools to eliminate any competition to pharmaceutical profits. The same companies that make synthetic drugs also manufacture the herbicides used to kill medicinal plants, creating a two-pronged attack on natural medicine. They profit from destroying the free medicine, then profit again from selling you expensive synthetic replacements. Government agencies that are supposed to protect public health instead protect pharmaceutical profits by making it illegal to share information about natural healing while fast-tracking dangerous drugs to market. Universities receive millions in pharmaceutical funding to conduct biased studies that discredit plant medicine while promoting synthetic drugs. Media companies depend on pharmaceutical advertising revenue, so they'll never report on effective natural treatments that could eliminate the need for expensive medications. The whole system is designed to keep you sick, scared, and spending money on treatments that manage symptoms without ever addressing root causes. Every institution you trust has been compromised by pharmaceutical money, and they're all working together to hide the fact that nature already provided everything you need to be healthy. But here's where this gets really exciting. Once you understand how to identify and use even just 10 common wild plants, You'll have more healing power at your disposal than most hospitals, and you'll never have to worry about supply shortages, prescription costs, or dangerous side effects ever again. A single walk through any neighborhood can provide you with immune boosters, pain relievers, digestive aids, skin healers, respiratory support, and nutritional powerhouses that would cost hundreds of dollars in supplement form. Learning to spot plantain means you'll never need expensive wound care products because this plant stops bleeding, prevents infection, and speeds healing better than anything in a first aid kit. Knowing how to prepare elderberry syrup means your family will sail through cold and flu season without expensive medications or doctor visits. Understanding nettle means you'll have access to the most complete nutrition available anywhere on Earth, plus natural allergy relief that works better than prescription antihistamines. Wild garlic knowledge gives you antibiotic, antiviral, and immune-boosting power that surpasses expensive supplements. Rosehip tea provides more vitamin C than any supplement while tasting better than store-bought teas. These plants are everywhere, they're free, they work better than synthetic alternatives, and learning about them gives you true independence from a medical system designed to keep you dependent. The best part is that this knowledge, once learned, can never be taken away from you, and you can pass it on to your children so they'll never be helpless in the face of health challenges. This is real freedom, the freedom to heal yourself and your family using the abundant medicine that surrounds us all. Here's exactly how the machine works to keep you away from free plant medicine. They create the health problems first, then sell you the expensive solutions, then suppress the natural cures that would eliminate their entire business model overnight. Step 1 is flooding your environment with toxins through processed foods, chemical additives, pesticides, and pollution that damage your immune system and create chronic inflammation in your body. Step 2 is convincing you through constant advertising and medical authority that synthetic drugs are the only legitimate treatment for the health problems they helped create. Step 3 is systematically destroying natural medicine knowledge through education systems, media campaigns, and legal restrictions that make it illegal to share information about plant healing. Step 4 is poisoning the actual medicinal plants with herbicides like Roundup, which contains glyphosate that's designed specifically to kill the plants that could heal you. Step 5 is creating fake scientific studies that claim natural medicine doesn't work while hiding studies that prove synthetic drugs are dangerous and often ineffective. Step 6 is rotating personnel between regulatory agencies and pharmaceutical companies to ensure that plant medicine stays suppressed while dangerous drugs get approved quickly. They sell you the poison, then sell you the antidote to the poison, then make sure you never discover that nature already had the real antidote growing for free. It's the most profitable scam in human history because they convinced you to pay them for making you sick and keeping you sick. The same companies making billions from your illness are the ones preventing you from accessing the free medicine that would end their profits forever. The numbers tell the whole story. Americans spend $4 trillion annually on healthcare while being the sickest population on Earth, proving this system is designed to manage disease profitably rather than create health. Meanwhile, countries that still use traditional plant medicine spend 95% less on healthcare and have virtually zero chronic disease rates compared to America. In 1900, before pharmaceutical companies took over medicine, cancer rates were 1 in 100 people, heart disease was rare, and diabetes was almost non-existent. Yet people lived long healthy lives using only plant medicine. Today, after 100 years of synthetic drug dominance, 1 in 2 Americans will get cancer, 1 in 4 will die from heart disease, and 1 in 3 will develop diabetes. The correlation is impossible to ignore. The more we moved away from plant medicine towards synthetic drugs, the sicker we became as a population. Pharmaceutical companies now make $500 billion annually from cancer treatments alone, which explains why they have zero motivation to prevent or cure cancer when managing it is so profitable. They make $200 billion from diabetes medications for a disease that can be reversed with proper nutrition and plant medicine, so curing diabetes would destroy their second largest profit center. Heart disease medications generate $150 billion yearly for conditions that traditional cultures prevent entirely with medicinal plants and natural lifestyle practices. The business model is crystal clear. They need you sick to stay profitable, so they'll fight any natural solution that threatens their revenue streams. Every chronic disease represents a lifetime customer worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in pharmaceutical sales. The revolving door between government regulatory agencies and pharmaceutical companies ensures that plant medicine will never receive fair treatment in official channels. Former FDA commissioners regularly become pharmaceutical executives earning millions, while pharmaceutical executives get appointed to run the agencies that regulate their former companies. The same pattern exists in the CDC, NIH, and WHO regulatory capture, where the industries being regulated actually control their regulators. They fund medical schools with billions of dollars to ensure new doctors learn only pharmaceutical treatments and remain completely ignorant about plant medicine throughout their entire education. Medical journals depend on pharmaceutical advertising revenue, so they'll never publish studies showing that free plant medicine works better than expensive drugs. Universities receive massive grants from drug companies to conduct research, but only research that supports pharmaceutical interests gets funded while plant medicine studies get rejected or defunded. Patent laws ensure that natural plants can never be patented, so there's no financial incentive to research them even though they work better than synthetic alternatives. Meanwhile, pharmaceutical companies can patent slight molecular modifications of natural compounds and charge thousands for what nature provides free. They've created a system where profit potential determines what gets researched, approved, and promoted, while effectiveness and safety become secondary considerations. The regulatory agencies that are supposed to protect you instead protect pharmaceutical profits from natural competition that would eliminate the need for most synthetic drugs. But here's what's really sick about this whole setup: they're not just hiding effective medicine from you, they're actively working to eliminate it from the environment so future generations won't even know these healing plants ever existed. Monsanto and other chemical companies make billions selling herbicides specifically designed to kill medicinal plants like dandelions, plantain, clover, and wild garlic that used to grow everywhere before industrial agriculture. They've convinced homeowners, schools, and municipalities to spray toxic chemicals on these healing plants under the guise of weed control, systematically removing free medicine from communities worldwide. Genetic modification is now being used to create plants that can't reproduce naturally, forcing farmers to buy new seeds every year instead of saving seeds like humans did for 10,000 years. They're literally trying to control the food and medicine supply at the genetic level to ensure permanent dependence on their products. Urban development destroys wild plant habitats while suburban landscaping replaces diverse medicinal ecosystems with sterile grass monocultures that provide zero nutritional or medicinal value. They promote ornamental plants that look pretty but offer no healing properties while demonizing the beneficial plants as ugly weeds that need to be eliminated. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides destroy soil microorganisms that help plants produce the medicinal compounds that make them effective healers. The plan is generational: remove the plants, eliminate the knowledge, and create complete dependence on synthetic alternatives within a few decades. They're not just selling you inferior products, they're systematically destroying the superior alternatives to ensure you have no choice but to buy what they're selling. If you're feeling angry about being deceived and manipulated your whole life, that's exactly the right response, because this information should make every thinking person furious about how they've been treated. But here's what you can do about it: you can start learning to identify and use medicinal plants in your own area, and you can share this knowledge with everyone you care about. The beautiful thing about plant knowledge is that once you learn it, nobody can take it away from you, and sharing it makes the whole community stronger and more independent. You can start growing medicinal plants in your yard or even in pots on a windowsill, creating your own pharmacy that gets better and more valuable every year. Learning just 5 common medicinal plants can replace most of what's in your medicine cabinet while saving you thousands of dollars annually. The more people who learn this information, the harder it becomes for them to suppress it, so every person you share this with becomes part of the solution. This knowledge is our birthright as human beings. We evolved alongside these plants for millions of years, and reconnecting with them reconnects us with our natural heritage of health and vitality. If this information has opened your eyes to how badly we've all been deceived, hit that like button to help other people discover these truths, and subscribe so you'll be the first to know when I share more life-changing information they don't want you to have. Sharing this video helps break through the algorithm suppression that keeps this knowledge hidden, so please share it with anyone who deserves to know they have access to free medicine growing all around them. The future you can create for yourself and your family is absolutely incredible when you realize that learning plant medicine puts you decades ahead of where most people will be when the current medical system inevitably collapses under its own corruption and expense. Imagine walking through any neighborhood and seeing a complete pharmacy instead of just grass and weeds, knowing exactly which plants can heal cuts, boost immunity, calm anxiety, reduce pain, and provide superior nutrition to anything in stores. Picture your children growing up with the confidence that comes from real knowledge, never feeling helpless when health challenges arise because they understand how to work with nature instead of being dependent on expensive synthetic drugs. Think about having a medicine garden in your backyard that gets more valuable and more powerful every year, providing your family with healing solutions that cost nothing and work better than anything you can buy. Visualize the peace of mind that comes from knowing you can handle most health issues naturally, without side effects, without prescriptions, and without emptying your bank account every time someone gets sick. Envision yourself as someone who broke free from the medical pharmaceutical matrix and discovered the abundant healing power that surrounds us all if we just open our eyes to see it. This isn't some fantasy future. This is available to you right now, today, and it starts with learning to identify just one medicinal plant in your area. The knowledge that was stolen from our grandparents' generation can be reclaimed by us, and we can make sure it never gets lost again. Your great-grandchildren will thank you for preserving this wisdom and passing it on when synthetic medicine finally reveals its true bankruptcy. This is how we take back our health, our independence, and our power from systems designed to keep us weak, sick, and dependent. Here's your simple action plan to start building real health independence that no corporation or government can ever take away from you. First, start with plantain because it grows virtually everywhere, it's impossible to confuse with anything dangerous, and you can use it immediately for cuts, burns, insect bites, and skin problems that would normally send you to a pharmacy. Second, learn to identify dandelions because every part of this plant is medicine and food. The leaves are more nutritious than spinach, the roots detoxify your liver better than expensive cleanses, and the flowers make wine that's both delicious and medicinal. Third, find wild garlic in wooded areas near you because just one bulb can replace your entire cold and flu medicine cabinet while providing immune support that surpasses any supplement. Fourth, locate nettle patches because this single plant provides more protein than meat, more iron than spinach, and natural antihistamines that end seasonal allergies without drowsy side effects. Fifth, identify elderberry bushes because making your own syrup gives you the most powerful natural antiviral medicine available while saving hundreds of dollars compared to store-bought versions. Start with these 5 plants and you'll have medicine for 90% of common health issues while spending $0 and experiencing 0 side effects. Each plant you learn doubles your independence and adds another layer of security for your family's health and financial well-being. Within 1 year of learning these plants, you'll save more money than most people make in raises while improving your health beyond what any doctor thought possible. This knowledge transforms you from a medical consumer into a health producer who creates healing instead of buying it. The ripple effect of your plant medicine knowledge will amaze you as it spreads through your community and creates a network of people who can help each other instead of depending on expensive, failing medical systems. When your neighbors see you successfully treating your family's health issues with plants while they're spending thousands on doctors and prescriptions, they'll want to learn what you know. Your children will grow up understanding that health comes from working with nature, not fighting it, and they'll never accept the medical dependency that trapped previous generations. You'll become the person others come to for advice when they're dealing with health challenges, and you'll have the confidence and knowledge to actually help them instead of just recommending another expensive specialist. Local communities will start to remember and rediscover the plant wisdom their ancestors used, creating informal networks of natural healers who support each other. As more people learn these skills, the demand for expensive medical interventions will naturally decrease, forcing the system to adapt or become obsolete. You'll be part of a quiet revolution that's happening everywhere as people wake up to the reality that nature already provided everything we need for health. Your plant medicine garden will become a teaching center where others learn skills that make them independent and strong instead of dependent and weak. The knowledge you preserve and share today becomes the foundation for healthier, more resilient communities that can thrive regardless of what happens to current medical and economic systems. This is how real change happens, one person at a time learning skills that create genuine security and well-being. What you now understand about plants that keep humans alive, strong, and independent puts you in an exclusive group of people who see through the biggest deception of modern times. While millions of people remain trapped in medical dependency, spending their life savings on treatments that manage symptoms without healing root causes, you now know that free, superior medicine grows everywhere around you. You've discovered that the same weeds most people pay to have poisoned and removed are actually miracle plants that can replace most pharmacy medications while working better and costing nothing. You understand that the chronic diseases bankrupting families and destroying quality of life can be prevented and often reversed using plant wisdom that indigenous cultures never lost. You know that the pharmaceutical industry's greatest fear is people like you who learn the truth about natural medicine and share it with others. You've seen behind the curtain of the medical industrial complex and understand how they profit from keeping you sick while suppressing the natural solutions that could set you free. This knowledge makes you dangerous to their business model because healthy, independent people don't need their expensive products and services. You're now equipped with information that can transform not just your health, but your entire family's future, saving thousands of dollars while achieving better health than synthetic medicine ever promised. The plants that the modern world made you forget are waiting for you to remember them and reclaim your birthright of natural healing. You are now awake to possibilities that most people can't even imagine because they've been so thoroughly programmed to believe in medical scarcity instead of natural abundance. This is the moment you take back control of your health and step into the power that every human being possessed before corporations convinced us we were helpless without their products. If this video opened your eyes to how much you've been lied to about natural medicine, and if you're ready to start your journey toward real health independence, then subscribing to this channel is the smartest investment you can make because I'll keep bringing you the suppressed knowledge that can transform your life. Every like on this video helps defeat the algorithm censorship that tries to keep this information hidden, so hitting that like button is actually an act of rebellion against systems designed to keep you sick and dependent. Sharing this video with friends and family who deserve to know they have access to free medicine is how we build a community of informed, independent people who can't be controlled through manufactured health scarcity. The comments section below is where we can share experiences, ask questions, and support each other as we reclaim the plant wisdom that's our natural heritage as human beings. Remember, every pharmaceutical company executive, every medical industry insider, and every government health official already knows what you just learned, they just never wanted you to know it too. But now you do, and that knowledge, once gained, can never be taken away from you, making you truly free in ways that matter most. Welcome to the community of people who chose knowledge over ignorance, independence over dependency, and natural abundance over artificial scarcity. Your journey toward real health freedom starts now, and I'll be here to guide you every step of the way as you discover just how powerful you really are when you work with nature instead of against it.